Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 2nd of November 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, there's a bit of an up and down day on the stock exchange with the S&P ASX 200 at one point breaking through the 7,000 point mark before closing up 0.1% to 6,987 points. It was a very strong day for the materials and energy stocks. BHP, Rio Tinto and South32 all finished up around 2.5%, while Woodside Energy, Santos and Fortescue were more than 1% higher. The banks ended the day better while the retailers were mixed. It was just a normal day on the bourse, and we haven't had many of those recently. Among the best performers were Coronado Gold and Lake Resources. CSL said it will invest more than $300 million to beef up its mRNA capabilities, forming a licensing agreement with a NASDAQ-listed group. Its share price was flat. Paper and packaging group Emcor fell 4.5%, second worst on the day, after reporting overall sales revenue for the September quarter rose by 9% to US $3.7 billion. Net income was up 15%. Analysts didn't like it though. Story number 2. Canberra has given the okay to exporting rare earths to China, notwithstanding the fact that the US is spending billions to break Beijing's stranglehold on the sector. Federal Resources Minister Madeleine King gave the okay just days after rare earths aspirant VHM Limited announced plans to sell 60% of output from its proposed mine in Victoria to a Chinese company. Ms. King said foreign investment would help new Australian mines get established and ultimately create more resilient and diverse markets for critical minerals. Story number 3, the competition regulator today said it was up to the government to decide whether to introduce price caps on gas, even if the ACCC recommended them. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission is providing official advice to the Albanese government about how to rein in East Coast gas prices. Its chair, Gina Cass-Gottlieb, told the Financial Review that the advice would discuss price caps. She said regulatory intervention in other markets had successfully lowered prices for consumers without significantly deterring investment. Earlier today, Treasurer Jim Chalmers said market intervention was needed and there was a need to make the petroleum resource rent tax, which taxes earnings from oil and gas, fairer. Dr. Chalmers called himself a reluctant intervener. Story number 4, Rio Tinto's bid to take over Canadian group Turquoise Hill Resources got a boost today after the main opponent said they won't vote at the shareholder meeting next week. This is a massive $3.3 billion deal. Rio has owned 51% of Turquoise Hill for 10 years and earlier this year moved to acquire the other 49%. Now, Turquoise owns 2/3 of a massive copper mine in Mongolia, and Rio wants to simplify things by holding 100% of the Canadian group. Obviously, that means it ends up with 66% of the Mongolian copper mine, which seems to be the jewel in the crown. Now, the other third of that jewel is owned by the Mongolian government. There's been plenty of angst for many years, but now the 2 of the big shareholders in Turquoise, who were against Rio becoming 100% owner, said they won't be voting. Rio's share price, as a result, rose about 2%. And finally, story number 5 gets set for a big rate rise in the US tonight at the end of the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee meeting. Over the past 24 hours, there were strong jobs growth figures in the world's biggest economy, showing that openings increased to 10.7 million, meaning there are almost 2 jobs for every unemployed person. That's the recipe for much higher wages and inflation, and the Fed will want to continue to cool the economy. Similar to Australia, where the Reserve Bank has reduced rate hikes from 50 basis points to 25 basis points over the past couple of months, there is speculation that the Fed will lift rates by less than the 75 basis points they've been doing. That's it for the afternoon report for the 2nd of November 2022. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.